All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. For the Sacramento Kings, they made the playoffs this year for the first time since 2006. They gave the folks in Northern California plenty to cheer about as they won 48 games during the regular season. It's their largest win total since 2005, and it was this year also marked their first Pacific Division championship since 2003. The Kings were an exciting team all season long, and they just gave the Golden State Warriors all that they could handle in the first round of the playoffs. But being a tough out and advancing in the postseason are two different things. And you just have to wonder what can and what will the Kings do in order to take the next step as a basketball team. One thing we know for sure this postseason was the De'Aaron Fox coming out party. And of course, anybody who did not know about De'Aaron Fox as a basketball player just came out, just really found out about him. I mean, this kid's been balling all year long, year by year. He's gotten better for the Kings, and he showed that he could do it on the postseason stage. He averaged nearly 27 and a half points versus the Warriors in that 7 game series, in spite of the fact that he played the last 3 games with a fractured pinky finger on his shooting hand. And of course, his numbers in the second half of the series did reflect that. You go back to game number one, De'Aaron Fox had 38 points, and then of course Malik Monk had 32 coming off the bench. He came back for 24 in game two, another win for the Kings. 26 in the game three loss at Golden State, and then 38 in the game four loss. But then going back to game five, he scored 24 points of 9 to 25 shooting. He scored 26 points in game number six on 10 of 18 shooting. Kings 118 to 99 win in San Francisco. And then, of course, this past Sunday at home, he only scored 16 points on 5 of 19 shooting as the Warriors simply got the best of him. But I think this is an opportunity for the basketball community to really understand how good that De'Aaron Fox and the potential that this young man has to be even better. The Kings, even in defeat, they did show that the moment was not too big for them, in my opinion. It's just the fact that the Warriors they were just simply better as their championship experience was the difference. And I mean, you go back to game number 7 on Sunday. Golden State came out of the locker room at the half and they blitzed Sacramento. They kept the Kings in chase mode from there on. And then, of course, to me, that was a big difference in winning that series. But nonetheless, you look at the Kings, Mike Brown still knows how to coach as he was able to do what so many coaches before him have not been able to do, and that is make the Kings relevant. You think about so many coaches since Rick Adelman left in the mid 2000s that have gone to Sacramento, tried to work it out, and it just didn't come to fruition. Mike Brown steps in, different beast. And you know what? Things definitely got turned around. And of course, Mike Brown is the NBA's coach of the year for the regular season. Now you look at the Kings, they definitely have something with De'Aaron Fox, DeMontis Sabonis, Kevin Herter, and of course, Malik Monk coming off of the bench. You know, you could make a case for a guy like Malik Monk being, the new and improved, or Jamal Crawford. Maybe just a new Jamal Crawford, because Jamal Crawford was just a different guy throughout his career coming off of the bench, or like another version of Lou Williams, or even a guy like Vinnie Johnson, guys who just know how to come off the bench and just provide instant offense for a team. And that's what Malik Monk has done for the most part through the bulk of his career. He was important to the Lakers a couple of years ago, and he was important to the Kings' success this time around. And I think he's going to be important to this team going forward, at least for one more year. Because I say that because Sabonis and Monk are each entering their final years on their respective deals. A guy like DeMontis Sabonis, he's probably going to get a bigger payday. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Kings do get an extension with him. He's supposed to earn about 19 and a half for next season. And then Malik Monk, he's just going to earn just under $10 million. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for them. But you look at this team, Sacramento definitely needs to work on their depth, and they also need some more size. Sacramento was 20th in the NBA this past season in rebounds, and they were also 29th in blocks. And if you look at this series loss to Golden State, one big factor was Kevon Looney on the boards for Golden State. A lot of those offensive boards kicking it back out to the likes of Clay and Steph for open shots. That was a difference maker in the series. You just have to wonder what could have happened if the Kings had more size. What could have happened if the Kings had themselves a rim protector to protect some of those drives by Golden State to the basket? Those are very important things. If not only if you want to be a playoff team, but of course, if you want to advance and take that next step towards getting that championship. Will Sacramento bring Harrison Barnes back? I'm not sure. I mean, Harrison Barnes has been a solid guy throughout his NBA career. He's had his ups and downs, but nonetheless, maybe, just maybe, the Kings are ready to move on from him, especially when they know that Domantas Sabonis and Malik Monk appear to be bigger parts of their future. Now, the Kings were able to sneak up on teams this past season, but that's not going to be the case next year because you know what? It's one of those where now the Kings are expected to be a playoff team, and it's a little bit different. I will say this about Sacramento this season with all of the juggling around that was going on in the Western Conference, because you looked at it basically from like 4 to 12, there really wasn't a lot of separation in the standings between those teams. They were very up and down for a lot of reasons: injuries, inconsistency, trades, you name it. But nonetheless, Sacramento, they just basically flew under the radar and handled their business. And before you knew it, the Kings were in first place and the Kings were clinching a playoff berth. And it was just like you kind of knew that this team was not going to be an easy out due to the way that they played. And of course, they showed that in the playoff series of Golden State. But nonetheless, it's one of those scenarios where you definitely want to try to find a way to build off of this. And, it's going to be interesting to see how hungry that the Kings come back next season. And I think they will, because number one, I do believe that Mike Brown is a head coach that knows how to motivate his guys. And I think being so close to getting to the second round and giving the Golden State Warriors all that they can handle in this series is something that I think is going to motivate this young team. You look at De'Aaron Fox, he looks like he's ready to go. Malik Monk looks like he's ready to go. Domantas Sabonis looks like he's ready to go. And I think these Kings are going to come by poised and trying to look to do even bigger and better things next season. The fan base is definitely behind them. And if you followed NBA basketball, for the last 25 years or so, that the fans in Sacramento will come out and support their Kings when there is a quality product that is being put on the basketball court. You think back to the late 90s and the early 2000s when the Kings had Chris Webber, Vlade Divac, first Jason Williams, and then Mike Bibby, of course, Doug Christie, and Peja Stojakovic. You know what? The Kings were must-see TV darn near every night. And of course, the fans then in those days at the Arco Arena definitely came out and showed love to that team. Of course, it was highlighted by the Kings getting to the Western Conference Finals in 2002 before they faltered against the Los Angeles Lakers in 7 games. But nonetheless, they definitely came out to the Golden One Center this year. It was all about lighting the beam. And of course, we saw that as to how loud that place got in that series versus Golden State. It was one of those scenarios. Golden State was not a good road team all year long, but Golden State came back and won game 5 and game number 7 on the road in Sacramento after dropping the first 2 games there. So you look at it, if you're Sacramento, you were close. Yes. You're good enough to make the playoffs. Yes. Now you just have to find a way to take that next step as an organization. The Kings are trending upwards, and let's see how they build off of this heading into the summer and into next NBA season. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.